G'day folks, it's Jim here from FX Charts, Wednesday the 7th of May, thanks for tuning in. Well, the dollar suffered a bit of a sell-off last night, really when London got back in from the spring bank holiday. Immediately on the European Open, the dollar came under pressure, sparked partly by some improved services PMI data out of Europe, and also some quite strong retail sales figures out of the EU as well. So that sent the euro higher, and cable went along with it. Cable had its own construction PMI that came out better than expected, and cable that went up towards 117, almost got there. Dollar Swiss was lower. Elsewhere, the Aussie and the Kiwi in particular improved. Kiwi's at a 3-year high. So we're going to have a look at the charts. There's been a bit of action, and starting here with the euro, it got up once it broke this resistance here that has been capping it for the last few days. Went straight up to a high 139.50. And it's sitting around below there now at 139.30. Really, I suspect we're actually in for a day of not doing an awful lot, because we've got the ECB meeting on Thursday, and I don't think an awful lot's going to happen before any announcement on rates before then. But although we have got Janet Yellen speaking to testify to Congress later on today, so if she is dovish in her outlook on the US economy, the dollar will again come under pressure, and it'll take out this 139.5 and probably this 139.66 high here, and head up on towards 140 somewhere up here. And that if we go beyond 140, then I think we're in for quite a squeeze higher. The 4-hourly charts, they're pointing higher, but then they're potentially showing some bearish divergence up here. So I'm not. I think it's a toss of a coin as to whether we are going to break the top side or not. Now we need to really go out and look at the weekly charts for this. Now we've been here before, as I've shown you before. This level here, 140, is pivotal. Now there's going to be some decent protection selling, option related selling ahead of 140. But if we do break it, then of course we've got this resistance here. The next level up here is about 142.5. So up here, which is the way the FIBO resistance comes in, and there's not an awful lot before then. But if 140 was to hold, we've got this minor support here, and the major resistance at the bottom end of the wedge here. So we'll go back to the dailies and look at that. And as I say, we've got 140 here. In the more immediate future, we've got to 138.80, which is roughly where it's been sitting for the last few days. So that'll be minor support. A break of 138.80 takes us back down to around 138.10, I think it is at the moment, with the bottom of this this rising trend support here, and then the 100-day moving average is knocked down to around 137.30. Now that's a long way off, and it doesn't look as though we should expect to be seeing that anytime soon. The dailies do look as though they're winding up to move higher. So although I'm not sure that we're going to see an awful lot today, I think Janet Yellen around the Asian opening, or probably just before the Asian Open, the Australian Open tomorrow morning, that'll be the first real catalyst. And then we have to wait for the ECB result tomorrow. It doesn't appear that they're going to cut this month, but they are going to be concerned about the exchange rate. So that could provoke some interest for them. And I think Mario Draghi is more likely to try and talk the currency down, with the market feeling that if there is going to be an easing from the ECB, it's going to come in June rather than May. So that's the euro. Dollar yen. That came down. Well, once Europe opened, it broke the support at about 102. It hasn't really looked back, to be honest, and it's sitting down around here. It's come down to sit on this support here. That's at 101.5, where we've got more major rising trend support as well. If we go and look at the dailies, that rising trend support lies here at 101.5, and then you've got the 200-day moving average down around 101.20. 101.02. In the meantime, these two lows here, the double bottom here, that is at 101.20, and that's going to provide some reasonable support. Now, if we go below there, then we're probably heading back towards this low here, which is about 100.3. I don't really see that today, but the 4-hour indicators are pointing lower, and the dailies are pretty flat, so I wouldn't get too carried away on either side. But they could be heading a little bit lower. So it looks to me as though it'll be the downside, if anything, that does come under stress, and a test of 101.20 wouldn't really surprise me in the next day or so. The BOJ minutes have just been released, and basically they're suggesting that there's the BOJ don't see any need to step up its easy monetary policy for the time being. And after that, the Japanese Services PMI has been released as well. That was a very poor number, 46.4, following on from the previous 52.2. Now, having gone below 50, that PMI services number should possibly weaken the yen, but it's not really showing any signs of doing so at the moment, and it's sitting around its New York close, as you can see, at around 101.60. So I suspect that if anything, we're probably going to get another test of the downside, but on the day I'd expect 101.20 to hold. Cable, that's interesting. That got up to just under 170. 169.95 was the high, and we're trading just below that at the moment, around 169.70. Now the hourlies, as you can see here, look as though they need to unwind a little bit, so I don't think we're going through 170 anytime yet. And it could be that the until the Bank of England on Thursday, where no real change is expected, but the result of their meetings on Thursday, and maybe cable just sits around here until then. The 4-hourly charts are positive. If we do take out 170, and there's going to be some protective selling ahead of that, though, I think. But if we do take 170 out, then we need to go back to this 2009 here, 2009 high at 170.42, and that will be the next immediate resistance. Beyond there, it's I wouldn't say it's blue sky, but it's a long time since sterling has been above there, as you can see, and there isn't actually an awful lot of resistance above above this high, and we need to go back up about around 176 really, which is the major FIBO level. So it could be that if the euro takes out 140 and if sterling takes out this or 170.5, we could really be in for a day at the races, because as I say, the euro could go to 142, 40.50 without any real problem, and sterling could start to motor along as well. On the downside, nearer home, there is some minor resistance just here at this high. I guess that's around 169.20. That's 50 points away. And below there, we've got the rising trend support. That's at 168.70. So I don't think we're going down there today. As I say, the 4-hourlies are pointing higher. The dailies also are positive. So the only thing I would point out is the stochastics look as though they might be running out a little bit of steam. So it wouldn't really surprise to see the cable just hover around here, possibly, as I say, until the BOE. Dollar Swiss, I'll go through quickly. Dollar Swiss broke down through 87.70 down to through this previous support here, 87.40. Got down to 87.20, where it's now trying to recover. The hourlies are recovering from having been oversold, as I can show you there. But if we do take out this 87.20 level, we're going down to 86.98 was this low here. And if that gets taken out, then once again we're looking at some fairly extensive potential to the downside, with not an awful lot of support seen ahead of this channel base here, down around 85.40, 85.35, something around there. On the top side today, 87.70 should cover it. Up around here. I don't think we're going back above there today. The 4-hourlies are slightly negative, and it'd need quite a sharp turnaround in the dollar's fortunes today to take it higher. And I think with Yellen speaking, who's probably likely to be neutral, possibly slightly dovish, on the US economy, I don't really see why the US dollar should suddenly turn around. So if anything, it does look as though we might be in for a test of sort of 87, but really I think on the day it's probably not going too far anywhere until she speaks. The Aussie, the Aussie was interesting. That got up to 93.70, 93.67, I think it was. Yes, that was the high. And until it topped out, it consolidated into the New York close. It's just coming off a little bit now, down to, where is it at? Down to sort of 93.30. And as you can see, it's just taken a bit of a blip down here. That's on the back of the retail sales for March that come out as 0.1 month on month against expected 0.4. So there's support down here around 93.28. That's the first FIBO support. If that gets taken out, and the hourlies are negative, if that gets taken out, then we're going to be heading back towards this 93.15 breakout level, and possibly back to 93, the figure. Don't really expect to see it down there today. Let me just sort this chart out here. Right, so we've got some minor support coming in around here. The 4 hourly charts, though, they remain negative. Sorry, they remain positive. It could be that we do get a bit of a correction back to 93, the figure, but I still kind of like the Aussie. The dailies look as though they're trying to recover. It may be that we do see a bit of a top here, but I'd like to think we might go back to 94.60, albeit that if we go and look at the weekly charts, we're heading back into towards the weekly cloud here. That's at 94.30, so that's going to be very strong resistance if we do make further gains. So I'd be, if I was long, I'd be looking to take profit up there. And on the day, I think 93 sort of 30, 93.15 perhaps, cover the downside, whereas I don't think we're probably going above the session high of 93.67. So this level here. The Kiwi is trading just under its new 3-year high. It's got up to 87.78 overnight. It's back down here at 87, the figure. There was some central bank rhetoric talking the Kiwi down a little bit. Now the 4 hourlies, I should say, they've turned down from having been quite overbought. So it looks to me as though we might have seen a bit of a top here for the time being. But as long as to 87 down to around 86, 70 holds, there's minor FIBO support down here, 86.80. The 100-hour moving average 86.65, and the pivot of the whole move up down around 86.40. So as long as this sort of level here holds and consolidates, then I think eventually we'll head back towards the top side. The dailies look positive. If we can take out this high here, then we need to go out to the weeklies, and we're going really, if we can get back above if we get back above the high 87.75, we head to 88, and this 3-year high here is at 88.42. So that's a fair way off yet, but it's worth looking out for. So that's about it. I will just go through the dollar index. Right, now as you can see with the dollar index, we've actually broken down here below this rising support here. We got down, this 79.26 was this previous low here. We're down at 79.12 at the moment. Currently holding on to this support here, down at 79 figure 10. A break of that though would lead us a little bit like the 50% move of this whole rise here. That's at 79 3/4. And below there, then we really are into trouble down around here, back down to around 78 the figure. So the indices are pointing lower, as you see. So the dollar does look as though it's going to be in a bit of strife for a few days to come yet, and possibly longer too. I mean, if we do start taking out these support levels, then we may be in for a fairly major move on the downside for the dollar. Right now, the resistance is back up here at this 79.25 level, and beyond there we've got the previous highs here up around 79.80, which actually is where the 200-week moving average lies, I think. If I go to the weekly chart, if I can find that. Yes, we've got the 200-week moving average at 79.62. So just blow that up a bit. 79.62. So that's going to be important resistance. So it does. The dollar index does look as though it is in a bit of strife. The weeklies are also look to have some negative momentum, as you can see. So I think right now, although I've been looking for the dollar to rally a bit, as the most of the market has, it looks as though we're going to come a little bit unstuck first, and we could see some more pressure on the downside. Anyway, that's about it from me. It's a lot to fit into 15 minutes today. There's not much room left, apart from to say watch out from Yellen's testimony later in the day, before which the European focus will be on the German factory orders, so there's not an awful lot there. So that's about it for me today. Have a good one. As I say, watch out for Yellen later today and the ECB tomorrow. And apart from that, I expect it to be reasonably range bound. So have a good one, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.